So the 21 Savage thing, though, me talking about this is so overdue.
These people, they think we're savages.
It's overdue for a couple of reasons. One of them is that my boss, Dan Le Batard, friend and boss,
is in that. Yeah. I mean,
we is depicted in it by a guy who looks, I wouldn't say in a literal way exactly like Dan, but is spiritually exactly like Dan.
Just enough so that he couldn't sue us, you know?
Even if you helped on her feet.
Pretty much. That could be anybody.
Except for the part where you said it's him 2 minutes ago.
Did I say that? I think I meant that was Stephen A. Smith.
The investigation that I went through on so how is it that Dan Le Batard and Bomani Jones, it turns out, were both depicted in the trailer. How would you describe what I'm talking about, what that project was for people, again, who did not get to consume it at the time?
Like, the way we would explain it to somebody is like, there was a video back in the day for Coolio for Gangsta's Paradise. A lot of movies had like the soundtrack, song that was also had a video. And they splice in, scenes.
Where the musician is also in the movie.
Yeah. Michelle Pfeiffer actually is in the video. She does the backwards chair.
So they didn't splice Coolio into a scene from Dangerous Minds. They put Michelle Pfeiffer into the Gangsta's Paradise.
Worlds,
okay.
So that
makes more
Gangsta's
sense.
Paradise.
The Gangsta's Paradise cinematic universe, the multiverse,
is the blueprint for this.
As I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I take a look at my life and realize there's nothing left.
I like how you're like, explain this to people. I'm like, have you seen Gangsta's Paradise? If you're like, no, I'm like, okay, there's absolutely no way to explain this.
All of which brings us to why Dan Le Batard was in the 21 Savage fake movie trailer music video.
He's a part of the culture, whether he likes it or not.
I don't think he understands his significance enough to have a developed opinion on it.
I don't know how to explain this to Greg Cody and Stugatz exactly in ways that they would understand. But the internet, I am told, because we are three old people, the internet has told me that I have beef with 21 Savage. I think I could say to either Stugatz or Greg Cody that his name is Savage 21 and they would not know the difference. But I don't want to be having beef with 21 Savage.
I just remember him saying to me, like, what is this?
Yeah, it's like sometimes you're just in the right place at the right time. You know what I mean? Sometimes the universe comes for you. And it was like, he had no idea 21 Savage was going to be such a huge thing.
So he interviewed on Highly Questionable, RIP, to a great show that interviewed rappers a lot. A show that aired on ESPN. Just to keep in mind what everybody's pulling off here.
I love that.
Where Dan, and at the time Bomani, and Dan's dad, Papi, Gonzalo Le Batard, are interviewing remotely 21 Savage.
Young Savage, why you trapping so hard? Why this capping so hard? Why you got a 12-car garage? Why you pulling all these rappers' cards?
Cause and I'm hard. I turn it into some hard. I grew up in the streets without no heart. I'm praying to my Glock and my carbon.
The background behind him is like, the buildings or whatever, like kind of like a nice view.
He has like a green screen.
Yeah, like a green screen.
A TV fake background.
Nice view.
In a studio somewhere.
But the way like he's like sitting kind of and like spinning in his chair, it makes him look like an evil villain, like kind of, and because like Dan and Bomani are kind of like, here's 21 Savage like kind of talking to him. It's like a little bit like they're a little bit out of their element. It kind of feels like they're scared of him because he's like a super villain. So it's just a thing that immediately kind of became like a meme.
I mean, 21 Savage has a tattoo like on
On his forehead.
On his forehead, between his eyebrows. His hair is
like an anime character.
I was gonna say, imagine Coolio was an anime character, and you kind of approximate.
Like a black Saiyan.
Yes.
Kind of, if you watch Dragon Ball Z.
And he is just like sort of like smiling and holding his hands in a way that has like a Dr. Claw aspect, like as if he had just rotated his chair around. And that still frame inspired Donald to play the role of 21 Savage in that interview. The casting, a big gap in the understanding that I had as to how much of an homage this was to this specific HQ interview was me then asking around to our group of friends that made this and being like, oh my God, like I would love to talk to the actor who played like Dan. I got to get him on the show. And I think it was Fam who was just like, that guy has no idea what role he was playing.
He really doesn't. It was funny. I remember that guy specifically was kind of like an actor who's like there, like doing a role. He has no idea of like the context of what we're doing. That was also what's funny. You saw me having to explain to you what this is.
Yes.
So trying to explain
your
this.
life is repeatedly being asked by people to explain the weird thing you're working on, and that includes the people who are starring in various parts of the thing that they are helping you make.
This is the hardest part about creating anything. You know, it starts off as an idea to you. So you have to translate this into the real world to other people.
It's like, all right, so you're this Cuban guy with a dark goatee and you wear a suit behind this desk next to this old guy and this black dude on the other side, and you have like buttons unbuttoned and you're kind of like, you're that guy. And also, I remember Bomani's complaint that he voiced online.
They thought that I would get on TV without no jacket on, just with a shirt, a dress shirt, with the undershirt out of it, the out the pack joint.
We had to do just enough to be like, it's not you guys, you know? To be like,
and the old man in between them.
I remember that day specifically. We're kind of behind. So you just got to give them the fastest things. I didn't give them the whole Coolio speech. I didn't have time, you know. We were moving fast.
But that ended up being a thing that people eventually realized, oh, this isn't actually a movie.
That's how you know it's a good prank, when people are sad at the end.
When you're mad that you didn't get the fake movie that this advertised.
But that's the thing. Like, you already know what this movie is. Yeah, that's why it works so good. You know, if they're like, we're making the 21 Savage movie, like, you already know what the highlights are and how Hollywood is going to twist that. Have you ever seen the, like...
Do not ask me if I've seen Gangster's Paradise.
Have